Welcome back to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Last time we got ourselves a whole bunch of stuff shoved into a sterile room to start making this sterilized growth medium, and I now have 100 buckets of it. And I think that's a good starter amount because we are going to need that for this episode today to finish out what we were kind of working towards with that growth medium. So basically, we're just going to be traveling the rest of the way down the line. We have our growth medium. We just need to get it in a bucket to pass this quest off. Make it a little bit easier to see the next quests after that. But there's the bucket. There is the quest. So from the sterilized growth medium, we need to make stem cells. Stem cells are a major component of wetware circuits. So this is, don't question. Okay, well, now you're making me want to question why we use osmiridium, but we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a singular craft of that up, which we'll go ahead and start that. And you'll see we're going to take osmiridium. We've got ourselves some sterile growth medium, but it does also need some bacteria. So it's going to go ahead and craft us up some bacteria. And that will do what we need there. We did put a bacteria sludge thing, because it will produce some bacteria sludge afterwards, and that will allow us to stuff it directly into there. And I guess I should have made 2 crafts of that. So let's go ahead and start a second one. Let it do that. And as you can see, we got our stem cells that we need. So this, I believe, is the very last component. Yes, the last component that needs to be made inside of the sterile room. Now it's back to the clean rooms to make ourselves the... What is the next part of it again? Oh. Now we need the wetware. Okay, that's right. So we've got the sterile growth medium to make our wetware circuit boards. However, we need these petri dishes. And I actually have it set up to be able to be made over in the overworld. However, we have to do one quick thing, and that's to make ourselves this cylinder casting mold to add into our fluid solidifier. And so I've set this recipe up in here. We've got some liquid polybenzimidazole that's going to go in there and make us 2 petri dishes. So let's go ahead and set some wetware circuits to go ahead and advance on in. This should craft up 16 of them for us, which is going back towards our clean room. And so that's just the wetware circuit boards that wants us to get out. So we have to get through 2 steps of crafting to get that. So we'll get the 16, and then I think we'll just go ahead and have it do 16 of those once it's done. But we actually get them done. Where is it? In here? I think it's in here. No, it's not in here. It's over here. There we go. No, it's not there. We're still waiting. Oh, we're waiting on the assembly line because it needs that thing. Okay. Definitely a little bit of a tight squeeze in here, but it's fine. Are we going to get that circuit board? Or are we having an issue? I think we're having an issue. I might have forgotten to do a thing on this one. No, it's done. What? Oh, we're making our circuit boards. So, while that takes its time doing that, let's go ahead and look at what else we've got to get going. So, we have our neuro processing units, which serve as the CPU for a wetware. It also takes the circuit board in its recipe, but don't let that scare you. That's takes that wetware circuit board for the processor. But then from there, we have to go into... I didn't know that was a thing. We're going to be going into the circuits. And that's where we need these previous ones to get down here. The highest we can get to is the UV. As to get to the next one, we need to get to our data module and our network switches. So let's look at what we can do to try to get something set up for this. As we're going to need our reception hatch and 3 transmission hatches. For input. For output. That's not right. Let's go ahead and read that one because I feel like something's up with that. The network switch allows multiple HPCAs to be used in conjunction with each other. This allows you to provide far more computation to your research station. HPCAs can be connected to the network switch with transmission and reception hatches, and then the network switch can output to a research station with another transmission hatch. HPCAs cannot connect to network switches by default and each need a connected HPCA. Each connected HPCA needs an HPCA bridge component to enable this functionality. So I guess that's the first part we need to look at. What is the HPCA bridge component look like? So we got the high performance array bridge component. And this one allows connection to network switches. That's not too bad of a recipe there. But it is a component, so it's going to go in our component slots. Which means, even though I have 3 of them set over here, we can probably take out 2 of them, as it looks like they don't need cooling in there. You can take out 2 of the cooling as well as 1 of the processing units to allow this to hook up. It does look like our 16 circuit boards went up, so we're going to go ahead and make sure we craft up 16 more of these wetware boards, which is going to take a little bit. Quite a bit of titanium and nobium to make our nobium titanium foils, as well as some argon gas and iron dust for iron chloride. So that will get going through there. So in the meantime, let's look at this. We've got, just needs to be in an assembler, which is a relatively rapid process. So you might be able to go get that part set up. What? LUV cleanroom. Got it. So we will have plenty if we go ahead and set this up in that other room. And so to start, we only need the one to hook that one up to a network switch. So we will go ahead and start that to kind of future-proof it a little bit, as we will be working on the network switch component shortly. So we want ourselves the HPCA bridge component. We queue up to, how long is that going to take? Probably a lot longer than I want it to. So we'll do 1 for now, like we said. Okay, so now we need to get back to our network switch. We need 19 computer casings, 1 advanced computer casing, a hatch, which I'm guessing per computation data hatch. So per hatch, it's going to use, I don't remember how much energy that is. That is 1/10? No, 1/5. 1/5 of an LUV. So I don't think we'll end up getting up to enough where it'll be too much of a problem. I think 3 or 4 should do us just fine. So let's go ahead and start up that LUV. Actually, no, the LUV should be fine. We're only doing that as EPs. We can do a transformer. So we've got ourselves LUV energy hatch, which we already have one of quite nicely. And then we would need ourselves the computation hatches. So we need reception. we want 2 to start. And then transmission, we'll go ahead and do 1 once we get some area cleared out, it looks like, because we are maxed out on our higher end equipment. Can we do any of the computer casings? I know we've got 1 advanced computer casing, so we don't need to do that one. And then we would need 20 of the regular computer casings, which I think... No, we could do it on something there. Oh. Cancel. What if I did 10? I guess if I do 10 at a time, we can do it in those smaller ones. Apparently not. Cancel. Well, I think only one of them is upgraded with the secondary. No, none of them are. Where is it getting processed then? Alright, so what are we waiting on over here? It's waiting on something. Probably waiting on something else to be crafted in there, isn't it? Or do we have an issue with stuff getting inserted? It's not locked, so that should be fine. What are we having an issue with on that one? So we've got our scheduled tooling, we've got the quantum star, TNT, the only thing I could think of was it that even wasn't working anymore? Hello? I am so confused. Wonder if that was the hatches. Yeah, there's our computer kit. Wait, why did it work in this one, but it didn't work in the other one? Vanadium, gallium. Should have plenty of energy over here for that. What is going on? It's this mixer, isn't it? Got it. That answers that question, but we can go ahead and do 10 more, I guess. Just so that we have those set for the network switch. Looks like we're almost through all of our Wetware circuit boards. Now, I did go ahead and use the recipe here. If I could click on it right. We couldn't use this recipe right now, as we cannot make the HASOCs just yet. Those require neutronium-doped monocrystalline silicone bundles, which the neutronium itself requires us to make liquid neutronium in a Mark III reactor here with americium and nadacuria. So, Nequadria? Let's say that right again. So yeah, we need a Mark III reactor to be able to use those SoC chips. So we are currently using the other recipe that just requires a crystal chip. The only thing, we just got to make sure that we keep this topped up with a decent amount of europium so we don't run out of the raw crystal chips and end up in a situation where we're making stuff from scratch. I did grab some europium, start making some so that I could do that. So let's go ahead and grab 10 buckets and go get them in there. And it looks like our circuit boards are done. So there's all 16 of those circuit boards, and we can go ahead and start up our next circuits. Whoa. Like I said, it is this recipe here requiring crystal chips, the neural processing units, the nano CPU chips, and actually I guess we need to make some of these first. So we have enough stuff set up to make 4 of them currently. So let's go get those. Neuro... UE? Oh, come on. EU. There we go. So let's make 4 of those. We have all of that stuff available, but the Electrum, which is not too hard to wait on. We got ourselves our computer casings that we needed. And now we just are waiting on our computation. At the reception hatch? That was the reception hatches. So there should be 2 of those in the works. Still, somewhere. Crafting the gelled tooling. Hopefully. I feel like something's going on with that downstairs and it's not working, because that should be processing at a lot faster rate than it is currently. So let's go check up on that. So there it goes, making it. I don't know what was taking it so long, but I guess it finally got it to go through. Are we waiting? Are we missing hydrochloric acid? Is that why? Chlorine? No, there's plenty there. It's always a wonder sometimes how much you're like, these parts don't seem to be working the way they're supposed to. Now we're crafting the quantum stars, which are relatively quick. We got the data reception hatch, and I guess the last thing that we're going to need to make sure we have something of is a network switch. So we are actually going to need ourselves a data orb, fiber optic cable to get our network switch as a possibility. So let's go ahead and include this here. And don't know if we've got enough of that, but we can combine the 2. Make sure we've got the wire makeable. Go back to our network switch. It looks like the last thing we need is our tritium foil. Or tritanium. No, it is tritium. Tritanum. And now we just need our fiber optic cable. So let's get our fiber optic cable. And a data orb. And we'll go ahead and head back over to the other side while we wait on that stuff and get some stuff sorted out. So we got to get our cables all the way back over here into that one. Our foils into this one. And it looks like our data orb is finished, so we need to get that started pronto. Oh no, it isn't our data orb, it was our neuro processing unit, which now allows us to actually start this recipe that I was wanting to do. So we need our wetware processors. Wetware processor. Let's go ahead and craft up the very first one. We've got our data reception hatches done, and now we need our data transmission hatch, which we are out of iridium. That's not good. I thought we'd have plenty. But apparently not. And I think these are going to need it too. Yes, so we're actually going to have to go and start a mine up somewhere really quick. Get this going. Those wetware processors already finish. Wow, there we go. Wetware processors that we need. But we also need the neuro first to progress both of those quests. Maybe? What? Or do we need these ones? I think we need those ones first. So that's going to do all 3 of them together. Can now craft up one of these. And then this one itself actually does also need to be done through research as well. So once we get that one, let's get ourselves another data orb crafted up. And we will hold that. Oh, I'm actually going to have to empty my inventory first. So we need to come over here and figure out what are we not using much of anymore. So I don't think we need much of the LUV stuff, as we do not need any of that to make any of the other stuff afterwards. And we're now at the point where that stuff's just not as helpful. Oh, we could take this one out for sure. We don't need that. Let's put that away. Get out our data orb and our wetware assembly. So that is the both of those. Where are we at here? We're actually almost done, so I think we'll give it a second. And we'll dump in our new stuff afterwards. I just want to check, make sure that we don't run out of coolant, because I don't really want to waste more components here just because I didn't pay attention. But now that we've got that, we can add that into the system and allow us to craft the final tier of circuit that we're able to craft in the ZPM. So this wire thing had to go down here, and then that is all taken care of. Let's go ahead and get some tools put away, as we're going to need ourselves a little bit of some empty space, so we can go change around places where our stuff is at for mining. That goes over there. That can get put away. Can get put away, and then that can get put away, and that should clear out enough space to take care of that. Go back to the other world, and we can grab out our research model and insert our circuit board, and go ahead and dump the network switch capabilities into our little computer thing here. I kind of want to let it be able to process the stuff before we dip out, but maybe it's better to just go ahead and dip out and get there as fast as we can. I think I put away my... yeah, I did. Ooh. Despite all this, the hang glider is still helpful, so you don't have to hold space, you can just hold control. You run just about as fast, if not maybe a little bit faster to get around. But I will meet you back once we've got our drill picked up and found a new assignment for it. Alright, so we're back. Just go ahead and reassemble this massive drill we're using. And just get all of the different things that we need in it. It's our liquid oxygen right there. And finally, where'd it go? High octane. And we just gotta wire it on in. I have set it to go ahead and not be silk touch, since we do technically get more ore if that is the case. So now we just need to go ahead and make sure that is chunk loaded, and we are all set. And it is right over top of ourselves a sheldonite and palladium, platinum, and bornite vein. Now, I do believe it's going to take a second before we actually get what we want. We're going to get a bunch of this bauxite and element beforehand, which sadly is not the material that we're waiting for. But we should be able to go back now. Oh, I should probably mark that drill so I don't forget where it's at. Not the hover mode. Drill. Delete. And we do... and just make sure we get rid of that's a nitrogen. The other one out here. Delete and confirm deletion. Oh boy, it is kind of nice that I'm only playing by myself on this server, because or not server, but single player world. If I had to run around and find more palladium and sheldonite and stuff like that on my own, that'd be a pain in the butt. I don't think we really need too much more of that stuff in particular. It's merely the fact that the sheldonite and the bornite yield us stuff to get our iridium from it. So that's currently why I use it for the most part. Now, 1.5 thousand block travels back to the portal seems like a really long distance. But we'll make it there, and we'll be right back into our base. Able to craft up that final circuit. And I don't know if we will get the stuff needed to go ahead and finish with our network switch this episode. We'll see. We will see. But basically, a lot of the stuff that we're going to have to get into is all gated behind that at this point. So it is something that we're going to require to be able to do much of anything else, as the research starts requiring more than you can make in a singular one of those things back there. So we've got ourselves the data orb. That does not go in here. I'm glad I was really looking at that for a second. We got ourselves the UV circuits, which basically equals that one. And now we should go ahead and say Wetware circuits, and we should be able to craft up this last one. It is going to have to go through some earlier crafts, as we do not quite have what we need for the amount of these ZPM Wetware processors. But I guess the other thing that's going to be kind of nice is once we take out one of these, we can drop out. We don't need... How much do we need? We need 4 cooling for each of those. So taking out 2, we could probably drop down to only 2 of these active coolers and have 2 passive coolers. I think that sounds about right. Right? What do we got? We got... The cooling demand is 12, so yes, they each require 4. We have 12, and that's 6 times 2. So that would be 2 apiece. We remove 1, we go down to 8. But then we have 8 slots, not 8 slots. We still have the 6 slots. So if 2 of them do 4, that covers 1, and then the other 4 could do, yep. So yeah, that's probably what we'll do to minimize the amount of cooling components needed, as I especially don't think you can make a larger one of these arrays. There is our final supercomputer. Wetware processor supercomputer. Wow. Honestly, did not think I was going to make it this far. We are all the way down, if we look at our circuit progression, to 1 more circuit. And then I've gotten through absolutely every circuit. I just have to pull one of these ones out. So let's see if we can pull one of those ones out, get that quest passed. So it really is just that. Oh, why is it not? Processor? No. Chip. Get the NAND chip out. There we go. Ta-da! And yep, now we just need that to finish out our tree entirely. That's kind of crazy. We've gotten all the way through the coils. I did not expect to get that far. I think the last time I got to here. But it wasn't really here because it wasn't RTM. It was the different material that they were like, we switched it out for this. Because we don't think that it was fair that you could just skip through the entire tier. I'm like, fair enough. Fair enough. So, oh boy, like that is wild to see our progression through this series. And now, the only thing we need to finish out the series, if we really wanted to go and backtrack, we could get those 2, but we just need the fusion reactor. I'm just going to check that off, because I ain't doing that one. We're not doing combustion. No making steam in a boiler. Not happening. But, yeah, and that one's also the same thing, a large steel steam boiler. We're not doing those. So, fusion reactor? Like, pretty crazy. There probably is a few other things I'm going to go ahead and do once we get to that point, though, as I do think it would be cool to build both the blast freezer. Wanted to see how far along we've gotten. What are we waiting for? So we got all that. Network switch. Do we have the stuff? Do a network switch now. Network switch. No, we're missing tritium and iridium, and that's a lot of stuff we're missing, so it's going to be a while. Well, that means I am going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We are so close to the end of this mod pack. It is kind of unbelievable. I'll probably pull those out to finish that quest while I'm away. And then, quite literally, except for maybe backtracking to make some cookies, we're basically done. We're right there. It's kind of wild to think about that. All these quests we've gone through. I've still never made a configurable hatch because nah. I'd rather not have to run around fixing things. I guess we need to pull out an HV piston to finish that one. Steam turbine. I don't think we're going to backtrack to a... This one is the HV? No, it's the EV one. We're not doing the EV one because we already did the higher tier version. So, like, quite literally, what's left is this tier. It's kind of crazy. Back when this wasn't even available, the end game happened somewhere in like IV or LUV, and now we've almost made it to the end of this one. So, pretty crazy indeed. Well, as always, I want to thank you guys all for watching, and if you would please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye!